Hey everybody, welcome to another lesson of learning Japanese. Today we are going to cover how to express that a verb has been completely done. This is going to be in a pretty subjectively nuanced way in that because the verb has completed completely, there is going to be a sense of regret on behalf of the speaker. So what this Japanese form actually is going to be the te form of a verb plus the phrasing shimao. And shimao is gonna kind of be a verb in it of itself here. And this is mostly always going to be in the past tense. And that is either going to be in the polite form, which is shimaimashita, or in the plain form, which is shimatta. And if you watch enough Japanese media such as anime or dramas, then you might commonly hear the phrasing shimatta, and this is usually translated to kind of a cuss word, profanity basically, and it's gonna be something like shit or damn it. But it's not really that harsh at all to qualify as a profane word by English standards at least. This is literally just the past conjugation, the plain past conjugation of the verb shimao, and it's a really normal word, but it expresses that regret towards the finality of a verb or an action that has been completed. So profanity and pop culture aside, we are going to learn how to use shimao in this grammar construct, te form of a verb plus shimao, to mean that something has completed, a verb has completed, and there's kind of a sense of regret there because of the irrevocable resultant state that has occurred because of this verb being completed. So that's enough exposition. Now let's just jump into a couple examples to get a right idea of this. So for our first example sentence, we have the line, Kinou私の犬が死んでしまいました. So what is this sentence saying? It's saying that yesterday my dog died. So that's definitely a proper translation of that line. But of course there is the implicit meaning here that the act of the dog dying is completely regrettable. So when we say shinde shimaimashita, this is gonna be obvious to whoever we're talking to that the person that spoke the sentence, me, is very sad about the action. So let's break this sentence down bit by bit. First up, we have the word kino, which means yesterday. It's basically a time marker. After that, we have watashi no inu, which is going to be my dog. We have the no particle here to invoke that grammatical construct of a noun that we've covered earlier to indicate possession. So my dog, watashi no inu. After that, we have the particle ga to mark the dog as a subject, because the dog here is the thing that is doing the verb, which is dying. So after ga, we have shinde, which is the verb to die, shinu, and it's in its te form. So shinu turns into shinde, just like the grammar construct demands. And right after that, we place the other part of the grammar construct, shimao, and this is going to be in the past polite tense, shimaimashita, to mean died completely, which sounds really horrible, but yeah. So again, if we take the whole sentence and put it all together, we have Kinou watashi no inu ga shinde shimaimashita, and that means yesterday my dog died. And then the implicit part here is kind of regrettably died, or something like that. For our next example sentence, we have the line, Sumimasen, Ukkari, uchi ni shukudai o wasureteshimaimashita. So what this sentence, or basically two sentences, translate to is, excuse me, or I'm sorry, I carelessly forgot my homework at home. If we break the sentence down bit by bit, first up we have the one-word sentence, which is Sumimasen, and this basically just means I'm sorry or excuse me. Right after that we have the second sentence, and that starts with Ukkari. And Ukkari here is kind of an adverb that means carelessly. After that we have uchi ni, and that is going to be my house basically, followed by the particle ni to mark at my house. After that, we have shukudai, which is going to be homework, and the uchi ni is going to mark the location at which the homework was forgotten. After shukudai, we have the direct object particle o to mark that shukudai is going to be the direct object of the verb that is going to be following, and that is going to be forget. So wasureru means to forget, but here we have it in its te form. So wasureru turns into wasurete. Then we add on the shimao, just like the grammar construct needs us to, and we conjugate that into its past polite tense, which is shimaimashita. So wasurete shimaimashita means forgot, and kind of regrettably so. And then we put the whole sentences together, and we have Sumimasen, Ukkari, uchi ni shukudai o wasureteshimaimashita, and that means I'm sorry, or excuse me, I carelessly forgot my homework at home. So again, here in this example, you can see how the action that was completed is something that results in a very regrettable resultant state. Since the speaker here forgot the homework at home, he or she is now in a position where he or she cannot turn in the homework to the teacher that he or she is presumably talking to, and now disappointment has occurred. For our last example sentence, we have the very simple line, Benkyou shinaide neteshimatta. And this translates to something along the lines of I went to sleep or I fell asleep without studying. So if we take the sentence bit by bit, we have Benkyou. This is the verbal noun to study. After that, we have the actual verb suru to add on to the verbal noun to make it into a verbal noun. So suru turns into shinaide because we're adding on another grammar construct here in which the nai form of a verb plus the particle de added onto another verb means to do that second verb without doing the first verb, and that is covered in another video, but for now just know that it means without studying. And then we have the second verb, which is neteshimatta, and that is going to be slept or fell asleep or went to sleep. So I went to sleep or I fell asleep without studying. Nete is the te form of the verb neru, which is to sleep, and then we add on shimao. We conjugate that into its past plain form, so shimao turns into shimatta. So altogether, Benkyou shinaide neteshimatta means I went to sleep without studying. I fell asleep without studying. And again, of course, we can see how this is a very regrettable action because the implication here is that there was a need to study. Perhaps there's a test today that the person needed to study for, and he or she did not do that before falling asleep. So now the resultant state is one in which he or she is prone to fail a test or something like that. So it is indeed shimatta. So that is how we use the te form plus the verb shimao to express that a verb has completely occurred, and more importantly, that completion of occurring implies a regrettable resultant state. This is in fact a pretty common grammar construct, so it is definitely good to know, and it helps you know the underlying meaning behind those phrases in TV shows and whatnot.